Well, hello and welcome. And I'm still waiting for Harrison. He said to me to come online. Everything was done. So I'm just waiting for Harrison to come on. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, it's sometimes I do a lot of reading sometimes. So that's where a lot of it comes. So I know that it's all different time zones for everybody, but when Harrison comes on, he's got to go on before he goes to bed. So I don't know when he's going to come on, but we'll chat until he comes on, and then we'll go back to everything else. So I hope you've all been having a good day. I've actually spent most of the day recording, believe it or not. Most of the day has been recording and editing for church tomorrow. So it's and the longest part was that uploading it from my computer into so I could put it onto, was downloading it onto my computer so then I could put it onto YouTube and then uploading it back up to YouTube. So it's taken forever. So yeah. Do tell. Yeah, it was church. I've got it's nearly 50. I've done nearly 50 minutes of a church service. I haven't done much of it. I was a bit. Am I late? No, I didn't, Terry. Wow, a telemarketer just rang you. I've been getting lots of calls from people who, once I answer, hang up. So I said, I'm really sorry. We're really early because I've had to fit in with Harrison, with the boss. He's actually really not happy because he now is thinking he's locked down. His birthday's going to be in lockdown next week. He's not very happy. So that we'll be in lockdown for his birthday. So he's not very happy about that prospect. So, but yeah, I'm just waiting for him. Yeah, it is lots of work. As I say to the people, it's not the filming, it's not getting the clip, it's the editing of everything and making sure the biggest parts is making sure that where I've made cuts, that they're smooth. No one on the I hate that. I really hate that. So, and I've watched 29 new cases today. I'm suspecting, Harrison told me he reckons it's going to be 30 tomorrow, 35 tomorrow. But one they've traced back to the 15th of July. One they reckon they can pin back to the 15th of July, which is even scarier because that means that it's been festering in the community all this time. So, and unfortunately, it's in my local government. Most of the cases are in my local government area, which is even more freaky and has me on more high alert than what I was to start off with. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not just taking bits out; it's making sure the transitions are smooth and so that it doesn't look like you've actually made a cut. That's the trick, which I'm learning. I've learned to edit as I go, and then I've sent out all these messages to a lot of people that I know that aren't in the church's Facebook group, but I've messaged them all individually to make sure that they have the link for tomorrow so that they can view it. So. So it's been it has been a full-on day. So yeah, I am. Thank you, Robin. So yeah, 10:30 tomorrow. There'll be a premiere, and it's church. So if you haven't been to a church for a long time, this might be a bit different. Tomorrow's is a little bit different to normal, but and I've already started brainstorming for next Sunday as well because I thought, wow, I need to get myself ready just on the off chance that I'm going to have to do it. So, in my iMovie, I have 2 folders. I have one for my YouTube videos with the subscribe and everything all set up, and I have another one with that's just called Sunday that has, so I just delete all the middle. In fact, I haven't seen Ralph yet, and I have to remember to turn him off. So the only reason Harrison won't come on is if he's in trouble and he's been banned from the iPad, which does happen sometimes. And so I'm left hanging. Oh, dear me. I mean, that is a lockdown skill that I've learned, the editing process. So I know some of my some of the uni students in my classes are actually talking about deferring because they said they can't deal with this online, offline business. And that was the whole reason why I wanted to stay online for the rest of the year, was that I didn't want to do that. So I figured if I stayed online, I thought if I stayed online, then there was at least that consistency there. I didn't want to be jumping backwards and forwards either. Yeah, I tried to ring him before, message him before, but he's not answering. But I literally just got off. He'd FaceTimed me. I'd literally just got off FaceTime from him and jumped online. I followed. I did exactly what I was told. He told me I had to do this. You did computer bands too. I think we all had computer bands back in the day, particularly because they went when they first came out and they were new. So I'm excited if I get to hear both of you. I don't know. I'm just waiting to hear from Harrison. He was supposed to be here. Hence why it says Harrison live. He's left me hanging. Oh. Yeah, because they had said was that they weren't offering remote options this semester. They were going to offer like you would have a class with a teacher once a week, and you would be expected to do all the work on your own if you did it. And I'd said that I'd do 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and I would give it a go and see how it would be. So anyway, I did 1 day face to face, which put me in a best state, and then we've gone back to online. So Barnaby Joyce's electorate's now in lockdown, which is interesting. They've gone down. And the other thing is, there's the Victor Chang Research Centre has come out and said that the Delta is affecting young people, is affecting the heart, in particular younger people. That's what the research is showing, that Delta is reacting differently in the young people. So this is Delta. So there's greater risk of heart complications in younger people. Then this is from the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute. He said the variant, which was the first identified in India, is now the subject of outbreaks in New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria. appear to cause more serious infections and complications in younger people. The data is still emerging on how common the cardiac side effects are with this strain. Anecdotally, we're certainly seeing a few more cases of cardiac complications in young people from Delta. Professor Koviak said one of Delta's side effects could be the inflammation of the heart, known as myocarditis. In several cases, myocarditis can weaken the heart and lead to heart failure, abnormal heartbeat, or sudden death. It can lead to blood clots, which commonly start in the leg and move to the heart and lungs. No, Barnaby is in New South Wales, isn't he? Or is he Queensland? I don't know. It's his electorate. So people don't need to be critically ill or underlying heart complication to be affected, and that's why they're saying that there's been several patients die that way. The complications involving the heart, a very significant problem, but thankfully it's still the minority. It may be inevitable that more young people die as this outbreak is set to get worse, and hopefully it's still a very, very low number. Health Officer Kerry Chant described the Delta variant as a wake-up call for young people. So a teenager, 3 people in their 20s, and 4 people in their 30s are among the Delta patients in New South Wales intensive care units. Hello, Will. I'm still waiting for Harrison. A study showed on COVID-associated cardiac problems with young people found myocarditis was diagnosed in around 450 cases out of 1 million. So the study from the US, pre-printed last night, analysed more than 14,000 people between 12 and 17 who had been infected with COVID and felt the heart inflammation was more common within males. So Professor Kovac said the study provided the risk wasn't low and corresponded with what he'd seen during the Delta outbreak. So earlier this year, a 27-year-old died suddenly at home, and a 38-year-old also died. Neither had pre-existing heart conditions, nor were they vaccinated. Leading immunologist Peter Doherty suspects these deaths were due to cardiac failure. So they're finding that myocardosis seems to be caused by myocardosis seems to be caused by is a side effect of this Delta variant. Yes, we did see a mad tweet. She actually went on a mad spree today. So it's very, very interesting that it's Delta seems to be affecting young people more than the older people. And I also saw a screenshot today, Will, where somebody talked about the video of Katie Joy talking about Todd's perceived sexuality, and he said that he would stand corrected then. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he has had to go and eat humble pie. The American woman retweet. Yes. I'm having two conversations at once here. Let's see if Harrison's messaged me. No. Could be a very long stream tonight. I think, is Delta just getting into the US? I think Delta's just starting to get into the US, isn't it? Yeah. Because I'm just reading now. I mean, I've been reading some stuff and being told of stuff of people who are in the US just saying that they're just discovering Delta, but I don't know. It's here that, yeah, it's there too. Yeah. Yeah. And this is like nothing we've ever seen before. So is my understanding. So. Was that she blocked your sock account? Soxy mix-up face. Really? That's your sock account? That's funny. That is very clever, though. I have to give you. I tell you, Will, you've been on fire the last 2 days. Big Kev socks. Well, yeah, she's been all over the place today. I'm surprised she believes that the CND will work. I mean, look what she did to when Tardy sent her some. A sock account is an account where you go. It's not a real you, and it's not your real account. It's just a secondary account. I really I don't have any, so I don't know what they are. So you can check up on. I guess so you can go and troll. Oh, I was going to say troll. I don't want to use the word troll, but so that you can be active on people's social media if you block them, if you're blocked. I guess. Really? Your Texas governor will not allow businesses to burn? Wow. That's okay. Our Prime Minister won't make it mandatory for vaccinations. So, where our state government wants it. Actually, I just saw something quite funny. um, a parody from a group called from Juice Media, and it's full of swear words, which I'm not a fan of. But what they say is totally and utterly true. And governors, Florida's. I mean, the problem is what we've discovered with New South Wales is if you give the Delta variant an inch, it's going to take a mile. I mean, they had 291 cases. In 4 weeks, they've gone up to 294 cases. And they started with one. You just start with one, and it has a multiplication rate of 4 or something. So one person can infect 4 people or something in seconds. And they've discovered that it's airborne and you don't have to be anywhere. Well, Harrison's not here at the moment. I'm still waiting for him. So he's let me down. Yeah. But hello, short order cook. How are you? So there's this thing called fleeting transmission where they've discovered people getting the virus who have been in a room together but nowhere near each other. So it's really, really strange. I mean, our premier's been, or I guess Premier Governor, he's been criticised for locking the whole state down, but you're just finding out that if you don't lock the whole state down, it's just spreading, because part of the regional areas of New South Wales are starting to get locked down now too. So I shouldn't say locked down. They're on a stay-at-home order. They don't get locked down. Oh, cool. Thank you. Your dog's cool. Have they hit the subscribe button or the like button, Will? Oh, dear me. Not only did Katie Joy send a cease and desist out today as well, she also made a whole video on getting a cameo video from Christine Brown, the person she drags. I know I put on Twitter that if someone wanted to pay me $100, I'd do a video saying to Katie Joy how wonderful she was too. In fact, I'd serenade Todd for $100 too. because I've got to take a day's leave. I've got to have because even though my work is online, I get 4 hours of paid work and 4 hours of leave without pay. So I'm only getting, anyway. So I said, I'm in lockdown. Income's been slashed. So for $100, I'll serenade the toad. So that's what I'll do. My thumbs up makes 3. Oh, thank you, Terry. Very nice. Oh, boy. So I think I heard that he thinks you're a mushroom that lives in the basement. I think he confused I think he confused you with himself, because I'm sure that he's in the basement. That Christine, that seems to be the general consensus, that she would have. People seem to think she paid for it herself. Oh, you reckon I should be charging more? Maybe. I was thinking of. Yeah. I don't know. I just went, whatever. I know I did a video today where I was talking about, I'm expense tracking just so I can work out a budget at the moment. And every time that I think that I've got something sorted out, my income gets halved. And I just said in the video, I think I just need to put my butt into gear and start working my business, because I think that's going to be the only way, start, pimping up. I shouldn't say pimping up, but, making sure that my shop's top notch. I think he took the Chinese guitar kit comment more serious than my lip. I think he did. You offended him because you spoke about his guitars. You should know, well, you don't talk about a man's guitar like that. You don't speak about somebody's guitar. Guitars are sacred. It's just like you don't even go near them. You don't touch them. You look at them. And attacked him with maths, tried to bait him into admitting. Might have helped him. Yes. Yeah, he didn't quite fall for it, though, which was a good thing. I've got to look that one up. Pimp it up. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to. I need to. I've started on my to-do. That's my to-do list for Monday. At the moment, I'm just working. I'm just trying to knock off as many of my assignments as I can while I've got the time in lockdown, because a lot of my other stuff's not happening, of course. And so if I can get as much of my stuff done as I can, then I will be okay. So, hello, Mr. Obvious. How are you? Sorry, I went early because Harrison was coming on, but Harrison stood me up. Harrison has stood me up. Oh, dear me. He stood me up. He probably got himself into trouble, if I know Harrison. But as I said, he's not very happy at the moment because of the fact that his birthday's probably going to be his birthday's going to be in lockdown. So not my fault. Brown made a legal receipt of his fees, $450 an hour. Well, that's right. And the other thing was, Will, he probably didn't like the fact that you actually paid attention to what was filed. I mean, how dare you pay attention to what was filed in court? You're supposed to just believe what was said. You're not supposed to do your own research. That is just a mistake. How dare you do that? Oops, I muted myself. Yes, well, I don't think that they like being shown evidence. I have a feeling about that. That's just my little feeling. Because I was reading it this morning and I went, whoa, he's not a happy boy. She also, what else did she talk about? There was something else that she talked about today that was really quite interesting. Oh, I was watching Rakita Law, and he was talking about, he got an email from Kelly Long, or the mother's lawyer, about the fact they weren't happy about his coverage, and he talked about how he was doing, he was talking about it. Hang on, Harrison's here. Yes, Harrison. We're all waiting for you online.
Sorry,
You were out, were you? Everyone can hear you. All right. Well, we're waiting for you. Yeah, okay. Bye. Apparently, he was out. No, there's been no response. He'll be with us in a minute. He'll be with us in a minute. He'll be gracing us with his presence shortly, apparently. Oh, dear. Oh, here he is, Harrison. Oops. Hello, Harrison.
Hi, I just need I'll be back.
You've come on and then you're going to leave us all hanging.
I'll be back.
There you go. Harrison was here and then he's not. It was like flash. Ah. Oh boy.
So what are we talking about, ladies and gents?
Oh, we were talking about Robin saying hello. We were talking about Katie Joy, your friend.
She's not my friend, Matt. Has TC responded to Katie Rance yet? To KJ Rance yet?
No, that's Todd Chrisley.
How long have you been live for?
32 minutes, Harrison, after I said that I would be on.
Well, I was out, sorry.
Where did you go in 32 minutes?
Oh, I had to go to my brother's house.
Hey?
I had to go to my brother's house.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Your brother lives with you?
I had to drop stuff off to Noah at his friend's house.
Ah.
Is John on?
No.
Oh, come
Hey,
on.
Harrison, what trouble are you getting into? Terry wants to know.
Oh, Terry, I never get into any trouble. Oh, do you want to show them the picture?
What picture? No, I'm not showing them that picture. Sachi, the dog, perked up hearing Harrison.
Who's Sachi?
Will's dog.
Nice name. What breed is it? Is Will American?
Yes.
Will is American.
Yes.
Is Terry American?
Yes.
Is Mr. Obvious American?
No.
Where's Mr. Obvious from?
WA.
Oh, WA, okay. Is Robin Cantwell stupid?
No. She was from Melbourne.
What about Christine Gregg?
From overseas. Can't remember.
He's whatever Bolt is. What breed's Bolt?
Whatever Sachi is.
Only John, I'm being serious.
There you go. Robin is in country Victoria.
We're not in WA, Robin.
No, she's talking about Mr. Obvious.
Oh.
Mr. Obvious is in WA.
I thought you were talking about us, and I'm like, no,
No, you're in Melbourne.
We're Melburnians originally.
You're Melbourneian. Yeah, Chris. That's right, Christine. You're from UK. I couldn't remember.
Is Harrison American, Graham?
No, Harrison. Hello, Graham. No, he's not American.
America. Why do I have an accent?
Harrison is Aussie.
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. I like to eat bok choy.
Hey, Harrison swears like an Aussie.
What? That means your video is going to get demonetized.
Probably already is. Most of them are. Oh, yeah. That's right. You don't get as much money, do you? Did you look up Thomas Cochrane, Harrison?
Not yet. Actually, I'll do that now. Who's Thomas Cochrane?
So,
10th
oh, you
Earl.
were watching Cactus Bill teach us Aussie slang yesterday. I was watching some of that. I actually was watching, and I knew of course, I knew all the answers, but I didn't think it was fair to tell you.
Thomas
So,
Cochrane, 10th Earl of Dundonald. He's a politician.
A white shepherd pit bull mix. Okay. Oops.
Graham, is he a politician?
It was very similar to. Well, I mean, a lot of our language comes from the UK, although now it's starting to get a bit Americanized. But a lot of our slang is very similar to the UK.
No, don't FaceTime me tomorrow because it won't be available.
That's okay. I'm not going to FaceTime you tomorrow. I don't FaceTime you.
Alright, the other dog is Shelby, and she's a Border Collie Australian cattle herder mix.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, they're cute.
Mm.
Honey, don't say that dogs are cute.
Dogs are cute.
Captain Thomas Cochrane. Okay.
Captain Thomas Cochrane. Okay, cool.
Is that you? Captain Thomas Cochrane. 10th Earl of Dundonald.
Yeah?
Is it 10th Earl of Dundonald? Is it 10th Earl of Dundonald? The cats are more numerous and in the basement at the moment.
Cool. Cats in the basement. Nice.
Well, we can't be good at everything. Huh. He.
So do you want to tell everyone what you did today?
I went to a kids' gym.
And what did you do?
We made bath bombs. But
Does yours
we
have
had to
is
chuck
yours a
them out.
particular flavour?
No, we had to chuck mine out
Why?
because it went all didn't really work. It was all
Once it's in the bath though, it wouldn't matter.
yeah, but it went all moldy.
Really? Already?
Yeah, cats in the cradle and the silver spoon.
Do you know that song?
No.
Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the
Is that Elvis Presley?
man. No, Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens.
Mm.
We had a border collie. He lives in my heart. What a dog.
Buddy
Mr.
going.
Obvious, haha.
So
I
what dogs do you have at your dad's house?
I have a blue heeler and a greyhound.
So what are the names?
Cassie and Blue Dog.
Who's Blue Dog?
My dad's girlfriend's dog.
What? Your dad's girlfriend's Blue Dog?
No, my dad's girlfriend's dog.
Is that the heeler or the greyhound?
The heeler.
Right, thank you. I thought you were saying. I was going to go say, I'm going to tell him.
I have a stuffy that's cross.
I was going to go tell him what you said.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm not calling her a dog.
And that's not what I said. One never leaves the laundry room. Cats will find a way.
I'll tell them the story about Cleveland and Clover.
About what?
Where did they go? Tell them where did they go?
Where did they go?
Yeah.
What did they do?
Remember? they got?
No.
Yes.
You tell the story.
All right. So my auntie had these two kittens, Cleveland and Clover, and they were both as naughty as each other. And they got adopted, which is sad because so it was written and sung by Harry Chapman, an American, Auntie Joanne. Harry Chapman. Pop quiz: which movie and who said that line?
Cats and dogs living together. Oh, the times we're living. Cats and dogs all living together.
Wait, what?
No
Which
idea.
movie and who? Oh, why's Nightbot on? I thought you turned him off.
It gets turned off tonight. When I go to bed, I turn him off tonight.
Why?
Because I don't want him interrupting church in the morning. You might kick people out.
If there's one case of corona, we shut the border.
Ghostbusters.
If there's one case of corona, we shut the border. If there's one case of corona, if there's one case of corona, if there's one case of corona, we shut the border. You know who
Keep
that's
going.
from?
Keep going.
If
there's two cases of corona, we shut the
border.
border.
If there's two cases of corona, we shut the border. If there's two cases of corona, if there's two cases of corona, if there's two cases of corona, we shut the border. If there's 3 cases of corona, we shut the border. If there's 3 cases of corona, we shut the border and put us in lockdown. If there's 3 cases of corona, if there's 3 cases of corona, if there's 3 cases of corona, we shut the border and lockdown. Harrison, someday you want to come visit US? What part of the US is good though, Terry?
Where did you learn that song, Harrison?
What?
Where did you learn that song?
Jimmy Rees.
Uh-huh.
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
See, Harrison knows smart kid. We get zillions of cases of corona and we let them in.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we could argue, Christine, because corona is also a type of beer. So, and a case is like a.
Oh, so you drink that?
Is a box of 24, is a box of beer. So it's.
Why are we talking about beer? Now your video is going to get even more demonetized.
Yeah, Harrison's onto it. Yes. Nice singing, Harrison.
Thank you. Are we on 3,000 yet?
No.
Hurry up and get us into 3,000.
So it could be cases of beer. Wonderful internet we have. We have wonderful.
24 cases, 44 bottles of beer of Corona.
Yeah. And what do we do with the borders then?
Then we smash the borders.
We build a wall.
Build a wall.
I reckon we need to build. I think we need to build a wall between. We need to build a wall.
Terry said.
Yeah.
Look what Terry said.
You all have corona in your state. Yeah, I don't drink though. I reckon we need to build a wall between Victoria and New South Wales to keep them out. Hey.
I think we need to shut the borders to everywhere.
I would agree, Harrison.
Just turn the light on. Might be able to see what I'm typing.
And shut the borders to everywhere and not let anyone in and not let anyone out.
Yeah. Oh, don't show that up.
Sorry.
I'm joking. You can show that up. I don't care.
Yeah, Corona beer is available in Australia. That's correct.
Is it?
Yes, you can get Corona beer.
Corona.
It's
beer,
just that
because
initially when everyone was
it's
talking about,
Corona.
yeah, it's called Corona.
It's called Corona.
So it's just funny when everyone starts talking about Corona. Are you talking about beer?
I need to mute myself for a minute.
Okay. Mute yourself. So, oh dear.
I'm back.
You back?
Sales
Sales
went
went,
down.
I bet sales did go down, Christine, when the virus first came out, considering it's called Corona.
Can you turn on my fan? Huh? Can you turn on my fan? I'm putting my blankets.
It's just about bedtime.
Okay, in a minute. 5 minutes.
Couple more minutes and then you have to go to bed.
Yeah, okay. I don't need you on my. I don't
What?
need you talking to me. I don't need you talking to me about that as well.
Really? Oh, wow.
Bet. Me and Arnie were sending each other messages this evening. So do you want to talk about Katie? Mum, turn off my light,
Please.
please.
Really use
Turn off
manners.
my light and shut my.
Please.
Oh,
The Wikipedia Wow. No, I haven't tried the Wikipedia Wow challenge. I don't know, Mr. Obvious. I know there's been a baby boom. Everyone's having babies. I know that.
What's the Wikipedia Wow challenge? And talk about Katie.
Anyone want to talk about Katie? Well, what would you like to talk about, Katie? What would you like to say?
The awkward thing.
What awkward thing?
Like what you were talking about this morning.
What awkward thing?
About Todd.
Huh? Oh, Harris.
No, show me the video.
I'm not showing you the video. I don't want to traumatize everybody.
I'm sure everybody's seen it before.
Harrison wants me to show the video again of Todd and Katie kissing, and I don't want to traumatize everybody.
You're not going to traumatize everybody.
I am. Everybody was traumatized after the first time. Yuck, says Christine. See? Yuck. See? People don't want to see it, Harrison. I told you.
Christine probably wasn't on when it happened.
Never got it. Please don't show that. See, Harrison, I told you. No, they don't want to know.
Why is everyone? Why?
Hmm?
Nothing.
I told you it wasn't good.
It was awkward. And
was
she
awkward.
said her biggest fear was kissing.
Oh,
But you literally said yuck.
yes, I saw it, Harrison. It was fun. It was funny and awkward and yuck at the same time. It was everything. Harrison, treat women right, but watching those two added look unnatural. It didn't look right. It really didn't look right at all.
And what minute mark was it? Because I'm not.
I told you, somebody put a timestamp there, 3 hours and something.
Let me have a look.
No, don't have a look. I don't want you to have nightmares. Those two acted. Oh, he's left. He's gone. They saved the first kiss for us. They did. That's what it actually looked like, that, Christine. It was so awkward. Oops, he's back. Hello? You there?
Hello.
Harrison? Yeah, Harrison. Yeah, you're back?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, they saved their first. Yeah, they saved their first kiss for us.
How long have they been married for?
10 years or something.
Jeez. 10 years.
I don't know.
Were you at the wedding?
Oh no, no one was at the wedding. I don't know. Looks like you summed it up well.
Degree.
You like his laugh? I know he's got the laugh.
No, you've got the laugh.
Yeah, but you've got it too, mate.
Why do you have blue hair?
Who?
You.
I don't know.
It's tinges of blue in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does it look like she has blue hair, everyone? Yes, it does.
I think you need to go to bed because I don't want you to get in trouble by your mother.
I'm always in trouble, man.
Yeah, but tonight you don't need to be. So say good night to everybody, and then we'll try and come on again another time.
Hang on,
You can come, go on the day before your birthday or something. Or your birthday.
Or the date of my birthday, yeah.
Or your birthday, yes.
Yeah. Alright. Bye.
All right. Bye. See ya.
Love you, friends. Alright, bye.
Bye. Did you hear him say he loves you, fans? I'm going for the. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why it's blue. I don't know. All right, now we can get to the. Now we can get to the good stuff. Oh dear. The blue hair is when I get to I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, I don't know. So Harrison's my nephew. Oh, I think Christine meant bye to Harrison. I think Christine was saying bye to Harrison. Okay, so I actually was trying to find. Yeah, she was saying goodbye to. I was trying to find Menace to Sabra. I can't find that video. Did you take it down? Oh no, there he is. He's knowing Harrison, he'll be watching. Yeah, I think it's shiny. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Harrison sent me a message to say hi, fans. He's watching. I knew he would be. I know Harrison. Until he gets into trouble for being up. Hey, Mr. Obvious, did you notice that you've now become a tool? I needed to. You've now become a tool, a useful one. Oh, Harrison says I'm your security guard. Apparently, he's my security guard. I don't know what I need one for. All right. Wow. Will, your comment got pinned. Will, your comment's pinned. Look, pinned by Minister Sobriety. Look. First off, Katie is actually starting on bad foot again, you know, the whatever. You're under arrest. Apparently, I'm under arrest now. Anyway, so we've got this one. Yes, and that's so that was his. And so there's this. So he says. So wow, this says. Toad says, dude, stop pretending you know everything pertaining to this. You don't, and don't worry about my family. We're doing fine. So then he talks about deleting evidence. Your wife is addicted to drama and social media. She keeps getting in these cycles and doesn't realize she's her own worst enemy. Get her some help. Menace says, see, this is the problem with you Katie haters. You can't pay attention to anything. This video wasn't to defend either party, but to point out that Todd has made it clear what he wants. He's not suing for money like the hate train planned for a parade for crying out loud. Steve McRae is on Twitter begging Todd not to settle, LOL. I'm just calling it like I see it. Todd ain't looking for money. He wants his daughter's head on a stake. Menace. So Will says, okay, so Todd wants his daughter's head on a stake. And how is Katie wasting 6 figures on lawyer's fee to maybe win a good thing? This isn't even an issue of hating and loving Katie. Sure, argue about the morals of this suit. Fine. I agree with you. Shocking that Todd has an ulterior motive and that this motive is moral. But neither you nor I are the ones who will be paying hundreds of dollars per hour to talk to our lawyers, to have them watch all of our old content, etc. None of us have to go through that emotional toll. Unlike Katie's last lawsuit, this won't be kicked out due to jurisdiction. Todd knows how to file in Minnesota. That defense she hid behind will be gone. This is real. Be sure I am a hater because I give a crap about a mother and her family's well-being. Mean old me. Hello, Sheena. Says, I'll just point out that Todd wants something other than money out of this, and I think it was premature for the hate train to play in on the parade. Number one, we're never and we won't pay 6 figures in lawyer fee. Number two, Todd cannot do anything from his lawsuit aspect until his federal case is resolved. I believe that's not true. You realize he's facing 30 years in prison. No, to reiterate what others have said, he's just a blowhard who's trying to bully my wife with threats. If you're genuinely concerned about Katie's mental well-being, that's appreciated. But at this point, you seem to be a real fighter. I've already told you we are doing just fine. Please let us handle our business. The thing is, if you wanted to handle the business, he wouldn't have said anything, to be honest. And then Will goes on and explains about Tardy's, doing the case, $450 an hour. Then Will says, if you watch Katie's Lives of Teaspiracy and others, they flat out say as much. Just because evidence Katie has shown is of extremist trolls doesn't mean there isn't people who can think critically and analyze everything beyond the surface. And then about sexual orientation is a protected class, just like race. I kind of have to agree with you. Will they actually bring that into the case? I have no clue. But if you heard the documents in the last lawsuit, lawyers will go against the other side. My balls are made of crystal says, cool story, bro. You can keep babbling on, but I'm done here. I have way more important stuff to do. Now he says, yes, Will says, those Chinese guitar kits don't assemble themselves, though your wood-burning art done to them is pretty awesome. Todd says, dude, get out of your mum's basement and go get yourself some fresh air. The dampness is getting to you. And then it's like someone else is talking. So then there's about, he's arguing the fake Katie. And then it's, apparently I'm being annoying, according to Harrison. And then Will says, Todd, does your wife understand the concept of de-escalation? Filing a C&D is just going to fuel the drama and legal issues. Yes, Harrison. Why? You should be in bed. You should be in bed. Why? Because it's past your bedtime. You don't care what, well, I care what your mum says. So, Will, you have been egging on the toad.
What?
I'm talking to Will. Katie. I mean, and Will says here that he can still sue. Yeah, so Will has actually said that only if a main set of facts for a case are the same in a criminal federal and a civil federal case would he be unable to sue your wife. So unless your wife is somehow involved in his taxes, he can still sue your wife. Even you can even file cases while in prison. So even that won't stop him. Oh dear. What's that about? A video. But it's true. It's true though. It's only going to refuel the drama, and you know that might be just. That might be what? Right, good. Bye. That might be just the thing that he needs now to put in the final part of the lawsuit. So Will's argument was here. It says because just for Brown's work for the Lorianne part, he requested be paid by Tardy was $18,855, $450 an hour times 41.9 hours. How dare you, Will, pay attention to things like legal documentations? How dare you? Look, I actually got halfway through it and I actually couldn't watch it because he actually, see, you can see that I only got 6 minutes in and I stopped because he actually was missing a lot of the other points. Again, there's always a bias, and whenever you want to make a point, you only show things relevant to your point. You don't look at it as the big picture. You had to search through a lot of stupid topics. Hi, Gail. Yeah, you just missed Harrison, Gail. He's just been on. So that's why I was early. Hi, Gail. I had to make Mr. Obvious mod because we needed I've been I was going to say a screw loose, a mod short. So yeah, Mr. Obvious now has a tool. But see, for most people, they look at the swastika and they think of Germany and they think of the Nazis. They don't think of it as Norse mythology. Now, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that you were a tool. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I suffer from footy mouth. I didn't mean that. So you've got to look at the way that the majority of the people view something. You only need to have one person offended for it to be an issue. And it's fairly ignorant for him to say, I think he says somewhere down the post is that I know that people are offended of it, so, but I don't care. It's part of my heritage. So, you know, nick off. That's not the way it happens. That's not the way it happens. So I believe your thousands wouldn't. Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I'm, yeah. So Anyway, I was saying before Harrison came on, I was watching a video from Rakita Law today because he interviewed Michael Long, Sophie Long's father, and he was talking about he got an email from Kelly Long's lawyer who accused him of certain things, and he gave it back to her. But he was saying that the documents weren't sealed. So there were some documents he referenced, and she was talking about the documents being sealed. And that he was saying, no, they weren't sealed. And then she was talking about doing him for a privacy breach. And he pointed out that she actually isn't Sophie Long's lawyer, that she's only representing Kelly. I'd like to see her go down the public. I would like to see her have to publicly apologize. I think that's the fairest thing to do. I also saw Todd admit, and I'm just trying to find the screenshot, where he had to admit that she did actually say or imply that he was corrected. Could you imagine Toad having to say, I'm corrected? She did say it. Imagine the conversation that would have gone on after that. He's been defending her and saying, no, she wouldn't talk about anyone's sexuality like that. And then, bang, there it is. And he's got egg on his face. Yeah, as I said, I'm really early. I held off for as long as I could, but Harrison usually is in bed by about 7:30. Yeah, he was very sharp. He ran rings around this Tetson lawyer. Absolute rings around her. As well. So, okay, cool. I just had eggs on toast. That's something really easy. Yeah, so Will, you've really taken it to Toad to the point where he had to say he couldn't be bothered anymore. You're obviously stretching the brain cells a little bit. All right, let's have a look to see what Reddit's got going tonight. I do want to talk about Barilaro. Michael West Media has actually done a really interesting video. I've been actually trying to contact larger content creators regarding this case, because there's something that Michael West brings up that reminds me why it's very important that we stand up for this. Because Michael West was saying, for Barilaro to sue Google is to imply that Google is a publisher and is responsible for everything that is on their platform. Now, what could happen is if Barilaro wins and Google is deemed a publisher, that's going to open the floodgates all around the world. And Google will then have to vet everything that goes onto their platform before it's on their platform. Do you know what that's going to do to content creators? So the ramifications of this case are far bigger than, it's not just some small little Australian case. It actually has got big ramification side effects, because if it wins here, someone else in another country is going to say, well, it's worked in Australia, I'm going to go over here. Whoopsies, Will got kicked. And then they'll use it in another country. And before you know it, nobody, including good old Katie Joy, will be able to have anything without it all being fact-checked first. So the replay, the bundle of Joyce and Dalton video. Is that when she's having dinner with him? It is a very scary thought. In fact, let's just look at that, because he summed it up so much better, and he talks about it, and I thought, yes, this is exactly what my concern is, and this is why I'm trying to get people to talk about it. As little regulation as possible. Well, that's right. They're not moderating what they're supposed to moderate. You're right. So you're right. They're not moderating. But can you imagine the pain in the butt it's going to be? And then if YouTube does it, Facebook will do it. And then Twitter. It means that every social media platform will be deemed a publisher. And there'll be nowhere to go. So if you have any contacts with other creators, I would really...
by defamation lawyers, John Barilaro.
If you have contact with other creators, particularly big ones, I've actually, as I said, I've been writing to bigger ones. I've even written to a few of the YouTube lawyers to try and get them on board. But I'm not having much luck. And I think it's because everybody's just viewing it as an Australian matter. They're not seeing the bigger picture. And there's a lot more at stake. So this is Michael West. This is the West Report. This is another one I would recommend you subscribing to. He's an independent. He's an independent journalist. Yeah, it was Ralph. Actually, we just blame Rick because he set it up. All right, so this is Michael West. So it says, my feelings are hurt. Give me your house.
Raids by the counter-terrorism police. Ambushes by defamation lawyers. John Barilaro, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales.
They've got him. They've got him as the Wild E. Coyote. Look at that. The Wild E. Coyote. But even our comments online. Well, the thing is, Robin, we will be so censored. It'd be just like the Murdoch newspapers. We would only be able to say glowing things about Barilaro. It will be so censored.
Like Wile E. Coyote in The Roadrunner has been laying traps for his nemesis, Jordan Shanks, the YouTuber.
I love it. I love that analogy. Hi, Empire.
But the Roadrunner has had the last laugh.
So he's referring to him as the Roadrunner. So he's an independent journalist, and even independent journalists are at stake.
John Barilaro must have choked on his cornflakes the other day when he read the news that his nemesis, the YouTuber Jordan Shanks, had raised $1 million from the public for his legal defence fund.
What do you reckon? How do you reckon it would have? I know I'm having to stop because even though I don't think he would strike me, I don't want to risk being struck. But how do you reckon? What do you reckon the conversation would have been when Bruz opened up his Murdoch paper and read that?
Defamation or suing for hurt feelings or
suing for hurt feelings, hey?
Loss of reputation is a very high-stakes game, and Australia has the most draconian defamation laws in the world. You can sue people and get millions of dollars out of them simply because your feelings have been hurt. It's about hurt feelings, but it's also about money. The dynamics of defamation is the rich person that can afford the best lawyers and can outspend the other party.
Okay, see you later, Gail. Thank you for joining for the time that you've got here, the time you're here. Hopefully we'll see you later. I'll be here. I got nowhere else to go. Not as if I can go anywhere.
Generally wins. That's why people just cave in and give apologies and pull stories all the time from publication, because they know that if they were to fight it and they risk losing, they have to pay the costs of the other side. That means Jordan Shanks would have to pay the costs of John Barilaro's lawyers, the court costs, and his own lawyers' costs. So we're talking millions of dollars. So if you're...
Love him or loathe him, 7 his style, etc. But FJ is an investigative journalist. Yes, and the thing is, that whole thing, I think, is at stake here. The whole this whole motion of investigative journalists holding politicians to account, because that means that politicians essentially going to get a free ride, because anytime someone questions them, they'll just sue them. And I don't want a situation like that. I want to be able to hold my politicians to account.
We're heading into this with a modest house in the suburbs. You come out of it with no house, with no assets. You blow up your entire life's work financially. And that's what defamation lawyers really trade on. They trade on menace, on fear, on threatening people with this process, that if you don't pull your story from publication, we will take you to the cleaners. We will take your assets. Your house will be the swimming pool in our holiday house.
Was that a thing of Friendly Geordies, like what Brazza said to him? This is why I'm really trying to get the bigger YouTubers on board, because this is going to affect everybody.
This is what's going on with defamation. We have had at Michael West Media 3 defamation threats in the past 3 months, but the Deputy Premier has a conundrum. He's in a bit of a lose-lose situation.
Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it to be in a lose-lose situation?
If he wins, and that is entirely possible, this is a real lottery. It can come down to a turgid debate between lawyers over one word.
Bats pork barreling.
Wins on a minor imputation, wins on a range of imputations. It doesn't matter, because he will have faced cross-examination and some mud will stick. It will be a media circus. It will have high media profile. That's good for Jordan Shanks, and he can use that as content.
So you think about it, if this goes through the process, Barilaro is going to get hounded and cross-examined, and he's going to have a lot of his dirty laundry aired. It's not going to be pretty for him. It's only going to get worse for him. I guess really the reason why Shanks is going for it is he's got nothing to lose, really.
It's bad for John Barilaro, because what he's trying to do is to muzzle Shanks. Now, the circus has already begun, because there's just been a directions hearing. And in that hearing, there was great consternation by both parties over the nature of corruption. So John's lawyers are arguing that corruption is okay, because John is very open about pork barreling. That's okay. It's par for the course. And
I find that to be totally disgusting, that Barilaro thinks that that's okay. Corruption's okay. It's part of the course. No, it's not. Australians expect better.
It happens. These are interesting things for academics and academic lawyers to debate. Indeed, for lawyers to waste endless taxpayer dollars in court debating. The problem, of course, is that who pays for all this? Well, the losing party will pick up the tab, but also we pay in court time. All of this in the midst of an absolute crisis in New South Wales.
Yes, I was looking about that. To scan content. Yes, they are. Well, they're saying it's to look for, it's part of their child protection stuff.
Wales, particularly in Sydney. The pandemic is out of control. Barilaro himself has admitted they don't know what's working and what's not. And here we are, agonising in the courts at taxpayer expense over hurt feelings. But there's a far more profound issue at stake here, which is free speech for all of us, because Barilaro has joined Google as a defendant in the proceedings with Shanks. Now, the ramifications here are that if a court in Australia decides that Google is a publisher, that would mean that Google would have to be responsible for everything that it published on.
So can you hear that? So it means if that it's deemed that it's a publisher, then they're responsible for everything that's published. So they have to make sure that what is published is factual, is not going to cause any legal problems. Can you imagine how that's going to be? And you'll have all these content creators complaining about it. And I will say to them, well, I tried to get you on board.
On its platform, everything. Would they continue to exist as a corporate entity in Australia? Would Facebook continue to exist if this precedent were set? Google.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we've already seen Facebook. Remember, Facebook did a media ban where they didn't allow media on Facebook. That was great. I really enjoyed that. But could you imagine then if the social media platforms are banned in Australia and then other politicians around the world will start doing the same thing?
On Facebook would have to go, well, we can't publish that. We have to shut down this. We have to shut down that. We have to shut down everything. And the dynamics of the media, of course, where we have a situation where the mainstream media now, the Canberra bubble, is so under the thumb of the government. The only buffer against that is the freedom of speech that we have via Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. These are where we can express opinions which are important to big issues that Australians face, economic issues, social issues.
So the ramifications are far-reaching.
And so on. Can we have those debates? If a court finds against Google and finds that the social media platforms are actually publishers, the ability of the ordinary person, indeed independent journalists, to be able to withstand defamation suits will go. There'll be too many. We'll be swamped. I mean, what constitutes hurt feelings? Recently, a neighbour of mine was sued for calling somebody else in the building a pest. It was over somebody who left their letterbox open too often. $40,000, $60,000 payout, something like that.
Katie Joy's worried about defamation now. Wait to see what will happen if Google wins. She thinks it's bad now. It will get worse.
A waste of court
sorry, if Google loses, it could possibly get worse for her.
time. A waste of all of our resources. The defamation laws, as they are draconian. They're wrong. They need to be reformed. They need to come into the digital age. And if this spreads to social media platforms, it's all over for free speech and debate about important issues of public interest.
Well, I mean, I guess, Will, they may just ban Australians from their platforms. I mean, that would probably be the first point. But if people were able to work out that if they were to sue Google as a publisher around the world, then that's going to open up the floodgates. I think it's going to open up the floodgates. So, I don't know. But what Michael West has just said is what I have been trying to say for a very long, since I found out about this matter. But he's just said it a lot more eloquently than myself. We have been here before. And that's why we need to get as many YouTubers as we can to actually speak out about it. I think he's got a couple of hundred. I think he's got a couple of 100,000 supporters, Michael West. But yeah, we need more. Yeah. But see, this is my whole objection with Barilaro at the moment. New South Wales. So while New South Wales is struggling with the virus and he has said we don't know what to do, he has a defamation matter going through the courts. He would be best to actually file a document seeking that the matter be put on hold until the virus was controlled. A stay. We want to stay because I need to stay because I need to focus on the matters of the state and not matters of defamation. That, to me, is what he should be doing. But while he is, how can he be defending or making decisions? How can he be making decisions for the state when his focus is on the defamation hearing? And don't forget, Christo's in court on Wednesday, and Google has to have they have to have responded to the I think it was a subpoena. They've got to respond. They've had the claim sent to them. They've got to respond on Friday. So this week, which is a critical week, this upcoming week, which is a critical week for New South Wales, Barilaro will be focusing on matters of the court. He'll be wanting to know what happens at court with Christo, and he's going to want to know whether Google has filed a response. That's not where his priority should be. His priority should be on the state. And I'm certain, I really don't think that Jordan Shanks would be that much of a horrible person that he would say, no, we're not going to agree to the stay. I mean, that would at least give him at least time to get his evidence. Except people being distracted by, well, it does give him cover. It does give him cover. But for me, a decent human being, if he was, I shouldn't say if he was, but in my opinion, if he wants people to start giving him less of a hard time, because at the moment his Twitter, he's getting hounded on Twitter, people would probably respect him a little bit more and take him a little bit more seriously at the moment, other than some joke at the moment. So, yeah. I'm sure COVID has covered a lot of Brexit issues. COVID covers a multitude of sins. That's just fine. Because what happens, in fact, the Delta variant, when they go, Premier, why didn't you do this? Oh, it's Delta. We don't know what we're doing with the Delta. You know, the Delta variant covers a multitude of sins. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but yeah. But it's definitely interesting. And that's why I think it's important that I'll keep doing videos about it. Who knows? He might say that I'm harassing him by making videos on him. I mean, if we go by Katie Joy's definition of harassment, I should have already been taken away by the fixated persons unit now. So this is on Katie Joy's Twitter today. She said, today we served Todd Chrisley with attorneys with a cease and desist for defamation, extortion, and tortious interference for threats he's made over the past 3 weeks. I don't think he's made threats. It's against the law to threaten to destroy someone unless they provide private information. Extortion is a felony. Of course, she would do that. And then someone says, I seriously don't think Todd is bothered or worried. And then, didn't he just state he was going to sue you? Is that a threat? Is that a threat to destroy you? I apologize if I'm missing information. It sucks that it's got into lawsuit territory. No, he said, if I do not retract everything and hand over all my private conversations, he will destroy my career, business, and also ruin me. That's not a lawsuit. He also threatened to use social media to disseminate information about me, to destroy me. How on earth could he have the ability to destroy you? You've gone through a wild legal situation, and it seems absurd that he would think that he could destroy you. I hope this gets, love it. This is about time his attorneys will have a heart-to-heart conversation with him. No, Chris Cat. It's about time that her attorneys have a heart-to-heart conversation. So it says, has the Rio series had a heart-to-heart with her? As it appears, Todd Chrisley has an affirmative defence for extortion and neutral reportage privilege for defamation. Looks like Katie Joy's Potion's actions could be coercion and libel per se. Seems KJ's had a history of both, and so there's a whole pile of evidence. And then she says, Zag says, stay strong. You have a ton of supporters. Hopefully this will make him stop. And the people using his lies and content for money stop. They accuse you of not learning, change him. This proves you've learnt not to be silenced or tolerate liars. They've only learned how to harass to the point of illegality. I have learnt. I cannot control the actions of my friend's dad, who is under federal indictment and mad at her. I believe he's attacking me to get to her. She's just, why did she say who is under federal indictment? She didn't need to say that. It's a two-way street. Did you preserve all videos, posts, lives, emails, and tweets talking about them? If you're completely innocent, there is no need to justify yourself. No need to try and convince others of what they need to do. Emily D. Baker will let us know. Ozag is what we call a Katie Stan, which means that she, whenever anyone talks, you know, she's always there telling Katie how wonderful she is. And so then she then tweets on her other page what she, so that's her initial one, and then she says, so this is from her Instagram, extortion is a felony and punishable by prison time. At this time, we've not reported this to the FBI. However, we have requested the removal of all defamatory podcasts about me and my husband. Why does it need to be reported to the FBI? Threatening someone to hand over private information or else you will ruin them is extortion, and under the law is a criminal felony. Mr. Crystal is not threatening a lawsuit. He's threatening to destroy my career and business if I do not hand over conversations that are not his to have. If I do not hand over private messages with his daughter, who is battling legally right now, he's threatened to harm my business, release private information about me that could harm me, and tag my followers to ensure they know the kind of person that I am. But to have defamatory details, for it to be defamatory, it's got to be not true, correct? I'm just saying, threatening to harm a business with the same demands is tortious interference. We take these charges, who's we? We take these threats seriously as Mr. Chrisley is on bond for federal charges related to a 9-count indictment. Thank you. I wouldn't be poking the bear myself. He's not a person I'd want to be messing with, in my opinion. And I mean, why did she have to broadcast it, to be honest? Why did she need to broadcast it? People get, and the other thing is, remember, how many cease and desists did she have for Tiny Westbrook? She ignored 4 of them. So what makes her think that he's going to, why is it that hers is more important than the ones Tidy filed? Good for you, Katie. You can't live unless you are in drama or seeking attention, which is always. Todd is going to wipe the floor with your butt, and we are all here with the popcorn for KJ because there's drama 24/7 with you. Better tell Toad to find a job. Oh, and you too. And I feel the love. Normally, I refrain from commenting on your nonsense directly, but this is hilarious. Nice try, sweetie. Girl, you need to quit. This guy wipes his butt with $100 bills. He can hire a team of lawyers on you. He should save those for the IRS. Why do you ask for trouble? And you wonder why you get so much aggravation. You need to keep your business to yourself because now you look as bad as him. And it's true. This is my point. Because she did not have to say that they filed a cease and desist. It could have been done and she didn't have to say anything. I hope Mr. Chrisley gives your C and D as much regard as you gave the 3 C and Ds from the Westbrooks. It is a true shame that you threaten your own family's sole income time and time again because you cannot stay out of drama. Good luck, Katie. Love seeing you fight back. Todd is just trying to use you to attack Lindsay and it's disgusting. Always seeking attention. You're such a drama queen. So she's not getting the love that she was hoping for. Oh, it's all about content. While she can, I mean, if you saw this, Sister Wives sent me Christine Brown. She talks about how she's had to do stuff to protect her business and the drama and everything. And you know what? There's so much stuff that happens all the time in people's lives that we don't talk about because it's not relevant to the content. KJ, yes. So anyway, that was her Twitter. So yes, so they've filed a cease and desist. Someone did say that they couldn't find the podcast earlier, but I don't think what he said was defamatory. What he said is that he wanted that they'd filed a preservation notice, and he wanted to make sure that he knew that she was deleting stuff and that he was onto it. Somebody said to her that they didn't believe that what he was saying was threatening, and she lost it at them. But it's, yeah, she always has to be in the middle of drama. And remember, drama sells. Drama sells. Look at all the channels at the moment that are having huge growth because there's some type of drama behind it. Because people want to check out what's going on. Also, another reason why I stay in my own little lane. So, you know, as I said, I came on early because Harrison wanted to look, I think he worded things very carefully. And I don't know why him having a federal indictment has anything to do with a defamation suit. Tell you, the longer that this carry on goes on, the more I want to study law. So I can just go bang. Well, that's right. She's growing Roadhog's channel. That's right. KJ could fix all her problems just by releasing crappy videos and keep her mouth shut about her personal life, but she's never. That's right. That's the other thing Plan to Create. I noticed she hasn't been doing Instagram lives. I'm wondering whether her lawyer's spoken to her about that. She hasn't been on. She hasn't done a live on Instagram. If she just stuck to her content and left it at that, used her Twitter just to upload content, used her Instagram just to promote her content, bang. You'd be fine. Hello, Plan to Create. How are you? Oh, that's right. So for those of you that missed out earlier, Harrison was on earlier, so I had to do it before he went. We had to have him on before he went to bed, so I came on early. So yeah, it's just really bizarre how it all is working out with her. So I thought it was very interesting that Barnaby Joyce's electorate's now. Barnaby Joyce, I swear, is in New South Wales. I think his electorate's now in lockdown. I find that to be quite amusing, considering that he struggled to wear a mask. Well, don't forget, he got fined for not wearing a mask initially at one point in time when he first became Deputy Prime Minister again. Well, that's right, Plan to Create. She has threatened. That's right. Technically, that is extortion. Who appealed her copyright strike, she would sue him. That's no different. The only difference is it's her doing it. She's okay as long as she's the one that's doing it. If she is the one that it's happening to, she's not happy. Hello, Jen Sweet Tea. And we watched the video by Michael West Media. It's called The West Report, where he was talking about what would happen if, because we're also talking about the Friendly Geordie's Barilaro lawsuit and the fact that Google's now involved and what effect that could have if Google and Shanks loses and YouTube is deemed to be a publisher and therefore responsible for everything that's published. It could mean that Katie Joy will have to have all of her stuff fact-checked before it goes up. Could you imagine if somebody had to watch that video and fact-check her video before it could be released? They'd say, no, that's wrong. Where's that source? Because then you'd have to list all your sources. It'd be like submitting a paper for university. You would have to list where you got all your sources from to show that they were credible. She's still adamant, that it's all about Lindsay. But Lindsay hasn't said anything. Lindsay's not come out and said, and from what I have heard, I've not seen or heard anything where Lindsay has come out and said about Katie Joy and how grateful she is for the support. Could it be that Lindsay has done the dirty on her? I'm just wondering. Or could Lindsay's ex-husband, remember she's going through a divorce, could the information have come from Lindsay's ex-husband? Because Todd Chrisley said he's got all the information. He knows that Lindsay's her source. He said that if you actually listen to what was said, he knows. He's got all the messages that were sent between the two of them. He knows. So I would even argue that even though he says he wants Katie Joy's source, he already knows. He's already got the proof for it. But what he wants is he wants retractions, and this is what Menace to Sobriety totally ignored. He wants retractions from all the comments that she's made, particularly about his sexuality. But the whole source thing, getting to his daughter, he said he's got all the screenshots. He's got everything that he needs. He can prove it. But again, she's doing this narrative. And she's making it fit her narrative. So, and Lindsay did talk about it, but interestingly enough, she's talked about it, but she didn't, from what the people that have listened to it said, she didn't talk about KJ. She talked about the fact that her and her dad were in a legal dispute, from what I understand, and what was going on about that, but she didn't talk about the direct link between her and Katie. Yes, Nightbot's a mod. Sort of. So I've got a Nightbot set up to put through links. So, if somebody says that they want to join, I can do a join link. I can, there's little rules we can do rules to do the rules. Nightbot also has, Nightbot is Ralph, and I've also put some banned words in there. So if you say a banned word, Ralph will kick you. So they're the rules from Ralph. So instead of the mods having to say, I need a link, they can just put the link in. They can just type in a command. So, yeah, bad word. If you say a bad word, so that's really what it does. So it's all done by really simple, just to make it work. How are you going, Owly? Is it Owl or Ally? So it's, yeah, I noticed that Unirock wasn't on the Steve McRae issue today, was he? I looked briefly at what he was doing. But see, Unirock's another one that has benefited from all the drama that's going on. He's another one that needs drama going on to, do well. The other thing is, what do you think about the cameo that Katie Joy got from Christine Brown? She reckons a viewer or a subscriber paid for it. But then I was told it was only about $30. But I don't know. I don't know how much the cameo is. Roadhog is going. Yes, Roadhog is going at. Well, Unirock threatened to copyright striking too, didn't he? I mean, here's the thing. Again, it's about drama. Well, Katie Joy keeps talking about Roadhog. Oh, it was a clout chasing. It is a clout chasing. Oh, it was clout chasing. And then she was talking about trolls and how trolls can be good and everything. I've not been watching people. No, Katie Joy's not on Cameo. Christine Brown. Somebody paid for Christine Brown to do a cameo for Katie Joy, and it was saying about how she's loved and she's trolled by friendly trolls. Hello, John. Hello, the Fox. That's all right. You haven't missed much. And that Christine Brown reminded her of what it was like to have, that comes, that, anyway, let's have a look what she writes here. I'm not going to play. The interesting thing is Christine Brown does it in her bathroom, which I thought was really. She says, so earlier this week, I reported that Cody Brown opened a Cameo account. I also shared how fans were not interested because he's charging almost 2 times his wife. I asked viewers who they would want a Cameo from all the sister wives, and I mentioned I'd want one from Christine. I woke up to a message in my DMs with a link to this sweet message. We will always support Christine on this channel. I love her encouraging message about how teasing and hate is really a sign that someone likes you. Otherwise, they wouldn't waste their time. As they say, haters make you famous. Either way, to the viewers that paid for the cameo, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, to the haters, please don't harass Christine. She's paid to do this greeting. She's fulfilling a job, and she does not deserve to be spammed because of this. Thank you, everyone. Why would she even say that? We all know that she's paid because there's no way that she would say what she said if she wasn't paid to say what she said. In my opinion. Jesse? Who was Jesse as this time? So even when he's not feeling good, he's the cutest. Day 2 of the Cone of Shame. It's funny how that happened. And then she's saying Amy Duggett is getting a lot of for sharing photos of her nursing Daxton. She shared a story encouraging mums, but I noticed she threw something in. She said, if you feed through a feeding tube because your child needs it, go mama. Privately, I've shared with Amy my nursing journey. I extended breastfeeding until he was 4 and his feeding tube. I find that bizarre that you'd be breastfeeding till you're 4, but that's just me. I'm not saying. She's beyond being supportive, but her throwing in this tonight, I started bawling. I know this is for me and all the mums like me that are invisible in the feeding world. So thank you, Amy, Rachel King, for seeing this. Thank you more than you ever know. Update, Amy confirmed the feeding tube part was for me and to make me smile. My goodness, she's a good friend. Also, fed is best, no matter what fed is. And then Amy says, I'm glad you saw my story. Most people do not remember to add feeding tubes when they list ways to nourish and provide for our babies. And that's a shame. Go feeding tube mamas. Amy, you have no idea how much this made me feel. Thank you. Well, that's for me. Kindergarten 4 is when they go to kindergarten. I could not imagine breastfeed. Well, I couldn't breastfeed either of my two for different reasons. And I also get, as a person that couldn't do it, it's also very bad when they go fed is best, fed is best. But there are reasons sometimes you can't feed, and you shouldn't be shamed because you can't feed. I'm just saying. I was one of those. So, yeah, I couldn't imagine feeding. Could not imagine a 4-year-old breastfeeding. So, yeah, you missed Harrison. That's why I came on early. Well, by that stage also, your child should be technically toilet trained during the day. So there's really no reason. That's why we do have the best formula in Australia because, yeah, all the Chinese people steal it. They send it to China. It's really bizarre that there is formula shortages in Australia at times. Really, really crazy. So it's just funny how Katie Joy's talking about not shaming people, you know, about not shaming people, but then she says fed is best or whatever, and then shaming all those that can't do it. It's just me, just, you know. The teeth, once they bite, I'm done. Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? The reason is that because only so much milk can be used in formula. Okay, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, both of mine were formula fed only because I couldn't keep up with the demand. I wasn't making enough. This old cow dried out. I shouldn't say old, but, you know, it wasn't, but, you know, it was like, yeah, I just could not deal. And sometimes a lot of the preemie babies, because they've been fed by tube or natural, because they've spent time on the Of course, I think that's it. Sometimes the preemie babies, because they've been on bottles in the hospital and they've been on tubes, don't like breastfeeding either. They're bottle fed. So that's why I'm surprised with how sick her boy was, that he was breastfed, because a lot of the ones, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of the ones that I know that had spent time in the preemies wouldn't do it. Wow. You see? Wow. So there's legitimate reasons why people can't feed. But yeah, I just think at the moment for her, it's all about the drama and making sure the drama stays around. She doesn't want to be forgotten. So I haven't watched Little Britain for a while. I watched it. I watched it on occasions, but not totally. So let's see what people said. No, see, I couldn't see it either, to be honest. Yeah, but I mean, he was still fed in a bottle then. He had breast milk. I mean, if you've pumped milk and you've put it in the bottle, that's been bottle fed. That's not breastfed. Well, that's right. The formula did give them the nutrition that was needed. And, being a new mother is hard enough without all the stigmas about whether you're breastfeeding or not, to be honest. She put it in his feeding tube, I guess. Well, see, that's the other thing. I don't understand how she breastfed if he had a feeding tube. That's what I can't wait. Like, it's not making sense to me. Unless she's saying she gave him breast milk, but then that's not breastfeeding. A lot of what she says doesn't make sense to me at the moment. So it's a shame. She would have had to pump if that is what she did. Then she would have had to. Then she should have explained herself better. Well, but that's not what she said. She said that she breastfed till he was 4. Giving him breast milk giving him breast milk in a feeding tube is not breastfeeding, as far as I'm concerned. That's tube feeding. I mean, she sort of contradicted herself in that as well. So it's a shame Peter's not here because she lives in the Northern Territory up north. But look at this. Cape York crocodile crocodile attack survivor saved friend by stabbing reptile in the eye. 2 men were attacked by a crocodile in Cape York. You have a hard time believing that KJ would pump. 2 soldiers have narrowly survived being death rolled by a 2.5-meter crocodile off the coast of Cape York after one of the men stabbed the reptile in the eye. The 2 men had been swimming off Portland Roads north of Lockhart River on Friday night when the crocodile attacked the soldiers in their 20s. Why are you swimming in the water up north? You don't. A local couple who helped the soldiers get back to land have revealed the second man in his 30s pried his mate out of the crocodile's jaws, sustaining injuries himself before he stabbed the reptile in the eye with a knife. Katie Goodwin and Jason Watkins own businesses at Portland Roads around 800 kilometres north of Cairns. They said they were asked by Lockhart River Police to assist with the operation until the officers could get there. Mr. Watkins found his neighbour's tinny because he owns a boat. His own boat was beached and went out to assist. It was a traumatic attack. Old mate, he was pretty buggered. Miss Goodwin said the soldiers relayed details of the ordeal as they raced to get the medical help. One of the guys said he saved his mate. His mate was in the jaws of the croc. They were able to pry the jaws open. The croc then jumped onto him, grabbed him by the hand, and death rolled him about 4 times. During this time, he was able to process that he had a knife on his belt and grabbed the knife and stabbed the croc in the eye. My first question was, why would you be swimming with a knife on your belt? The boat was filled with blood. It wasn't ideal for transporting the 2 guys that were badly hurt. They needed support in the boat. Ms. Goodwin said the crocodiles were a fact of life on Cape York, but that she had never seen a croc attack before. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Portland Roads is one of the northernmost communities on the east coast, has poor mobile communications and road access. That's why you wouldn't go swimming there. Queensland Ambulance Service Senior Operations Supervisor Dennis O'Sullivan said the process of transferring patients to Cairns took longer than the usual due to the region's inaccessibility. It's a very remote location, response times are extended, and the whole incident was extended. Mr. O'Sullivan praised Army medics who delivered first aid in the form of a tourniquet to the critically injured man. Mayor of the nearby community of Lockhart River, Councillor Wayne Butcher, said the incident highlighted the need for better telecommunication services on Cape York. Communication is a serious issue in remote Cape York. I can't say how important it is. We've got to get the right infrastructure out there in Cape York Peninsula to support people. It's a safety issue. Wildlife authorities investigating the circumstances of the attack, but Councillor Butcher said it would not come as a surprise that there are crocodiles in the Cape York waterways. There's pretty much a croc on every beach at Cape York and just about on every river in Cape York, so you've got to be careful. That particular area, there is a crocodile that's local to the area, and you just about see him every day, so you simply don't jump in the water. These guys are lucky to be alive. In a statement, the Department of Defence said it is investigating the incident and continuing to support the affected soldiers and their families. Now, I'm from the city, and I know, that if you're up in the northern parts of Australia, you just don't go jump in the water because there's likely to be a crocodile. Oh, did she say the other day that he takes food? Or, yeah, I think he eats junk food, doesn't he, orally? So anyway, it took 8 hours to get them to the nearest. It took them 8 hours to get them to Cairns Hospital for treatment. So, not unless you have a death wish. I thought it was obvious. What they didn't say whether they were Australian soldiers or overseas soldiers. Now, if they were overseas soldiers, I'd say I would understand. But Australian soldiers should know better. You don't go by the river. You don't stand by the rivers. Oh, no, Kim, that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that, Kim. The death roll, hey? Oh. And I think it's croc season, isn't it? So you may remember the athlete from Belarus that was saying that she was being kidnapped. She's been settled. I think Poland's taken her. But the coaches, the Belarus coaches leave Tokyo Olympics after IOC removes accreditation over allegations of negligence. So the sprinter from Belarus, who was saying that she was kidnapped in Tokyo, has been settled in Poland. In fact, her mother has told her not to go back home. Two Belarus coaches who cut short sprinter Christina's Tokyo Olympics have had their accreditation revoked and have been removed from the athletes' village. Athletics head coach and team official were asked to leave the Olympic Village on Friday after the coach ordered the athlete to pack her bags and go to the airport. In an exclusive interview with Reuters in Warsaw, she said the officials had told her the order to send her home came from high up in Belarus. In a saga reminiscent of Cold War sporting defections, she refused to board a flight home on Sunday and sought protection from Japanese police before gaining asylum in Poland, where she was reunited with her husband on Thursday. The 24-year-old athlete's case threatened to further isolate Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who is under Western sanctions after a brutal crackdown on opponents since last year, and whose son heads the country's Olympic Committee, of course. We're not the ones who made the decisions, we're only executing it, she said the officials were saying. You have 40 minutes to pack your bags and head to the airport. So the two coaches have been sent back home. They both declined to comment. IOC president said that the case was deplorable and the disciplinary commission over her actions would continue. So her athlete, she said she decided to defect as she was being driven to the airport because her grandmother told her it was not safe to return home to Belarus. She said she would testify to the disciplinary commission on Friday and urged the IOC to defend her and other athletes. The IOC has come under scrutiny, failing to prevent the athlete from being removed from the Games for expressing her views about coaching staff. In the past, the Olympics organising body had acted swiftly to suspend athletes, officials or teams. Even those with provisionally pending investigations from the Olympics, it took 4 days in the case of the Belarus coaches before they were ejected from the Games. So, it sounds like she's safe in Poland, which is good. That's good. So the IOC is going to have sanctions over there. I hope Kim, your son's going to be better. I hope it's not COVID. Yeah, I'm glad that she was able to. I'm just glad she was able to find somewhere. I hope it's not. Yeah, I really hope it's not. All right, I'm going to show you a video. It does have swearing in it, unfortunately. But this is... I think this sums up this. You hope so too. Yeah. So this is a thing called Juice Media, the Juice Media, and they are doing parodies of the government. Now, what's going to happen? So what I'm saying is, if Barilaro wins against Google, stuff like this will be banned on YouTube. So there's lots at stake here. So again, I'll stop this throughout, but this is going to give you a little bit of what's happening in Australia at the moment. This is called Honest Government Ad Hotel Quarantine. The Australian government has made an ad about its hotel quarantine and vaccine policies, and it's surprisingly honest and formative. But remember, it's parody. It's a parody. And then these are their sources. So they've actually listed all the sources that they've used. ABC Fact Check, Quarantine Line, Quarantine Breaches, Live Tracking, The Conversation, and then all of that's there. It's also translated in various languages as well. All right. So again, I'll stop this so I don't get struck. But anyway.
From the Australian government.
There's lots of swearing.
Hello, I'm from the Australian government. Many of you are wondering, how did we manage to go from zero COVID and being the envy of the world to being an experiment in what happens when the Delta variant rips through an unvaccinated population? Well, it wasn't easy. It took concerted effort between federal, state and loco shitheads to
So for those of you who don't know, that's the Prime Minister. We refer to him as ScoMo. This is Gladys Berejiklian. I don't know what. And this is Craig Kelly, isn't it? Is that Craig Kelly? He doesn't believe in. Is he? He doesn't believe in COVID, and he's the one that's been doing the hydroxy. He's the one that's been doing the hydroxychloride. He's one of those.
But we did it. So now you can enjoy your freedom. Freedom to fucking die or get long COVID. Yes, we know these endless lockdowns are hard for you, your family, your mental health, but they're hard for us too. We've had to put on pants twice this week to give presses to.
I've had to put pants on. I actually had to put pants on too a couple of times. Yes. Ralph's not liking it. Ralph is having a heart attack at the moment with the language. I have to say that was one of the other issues I had about returning to face-to-face university, because I said to them, but I'm going to have to put clothes on. Oh, really? All right.
Make sure you keep thinking these lockdowns are caused by your freedom-hating premiers rather than by us cocking up the two jobs we had, quarantine and vaccines.
So the federal government is responsible for quarantining of the country and vaccination supply. I need to get dressed. Wow. When you see church tomorrow, I'm going to make, here's a confession. Church tomorrow, I was dressed, I had my church stuff on at the top, and I had my pajama bottoms on. So there you go. I was only half dressed, and a couple of times I wanted to stand up and went, oh no, they'll see that I've got my pajamas on. I couldn't.
Let's take a look. Quarantine is our first line of defense against foreign parasites like COVID and Katie Hopkins.
Katie Hopkins. See, they let her in as well. And don't forget, they've also let Brian Houston out.
It's also a federal responsibility, which is why our praying minister has been working hard to ask, what would Jesus do instead of experts? Experts have been telling us that COVID is airborne.
It's airborne.
Which means the dumbest thing you can do is put healthy and infected people together breathing the same air.
It's the dumbest thing you can do, but it's so dumb, we did it. Put on pants. Hey, my mother used to say you can't wear jeans in church. She'd be horrified to know that I was wearing pajamas. Put on pants. I've got leggings on at the moment. I'm actually dressed because I had to go because to go help with a technology emergency for my parents for something. And I went, technically, I'm breaking COVID laws, but I'm really, I'm going to say that I'm going to check on the old people. And we did it. They passed me what they needed done through their front door, and I fixed it, and then I went home. I know, the dumbest thing you can do, guess what? We did it.
And call it hotel quarantine. In Belgium, where they've stopped fucking around, it's now mandatory to install meters to warn venues of poor ventilation. Meanwhile, we haven't even updated our guidelines to recommend opening a fucking window or built the air-gapped quarantine facilities we've been told we need to stop airborne transmission. Queensland has one ready to go. Heck, even caravan parks would be better than our current system, but we said, nah. Hotel quarantine has a 99.9% success rate at keeping COVID out of the country.
It's a new dress code. Yeah. I think so. And that was one of the things about one of the bad things that everybody was. A lot of people when we went back to church face to face were complaining about the fact they actually had to. They couldn't stay in their dressing gowns anymore.
Which is true if you count all travellers, even those without COVID who couldn't have brought it into the country anyway. Of course, the number that really counts is how many infected travellers result in a breach, and that's 1 for every 44 infected travellers.
No wonder we've had so many breaches in hotel quarantine, to be honest with you. It's actually any wonder we have not had it worse. You ordered new PJs last night? Cool. It's actually wonder we have not had worse, to be perfectly honest. 1 breach every 44 infected travellers.
And with over 300 of those arriving monthly, that's 7 breaches each month. 7-star accommodation. You might think these breaches are just one cause of outbreaks like the one that's currently fucking Sydney sideways, but they're actually the cause. Genomic analysis of Melbourne's second wave shows 98% of all cases were caused by a single hotel breach. Remember that success rate we mentioned earlier? You have to marvel at how our prime marketer can spin a 98% fail into a 99% win.
Did you notice they called him Prime Marketer, not Prime Minister? When you return face to face. Nah, that's all right. I actually like having something that I have to wear. But yeah, you have to marvel at how our prime marketer can spin a 98% fail into a 99% win. Prime marketer. So just so that you know, if you want to actually have a look, it's called the Juice Media. It's called the Juice Media. They've had over 500,000 views. As I said, they've done all their searches. They've got all their sources listed. So
hotel marketing. But don't worry, after a whole year of fingering our chin falls, we've finally agreed to fund 2 properly air-gapped quarantine facilities. It might take a while though. While you wait, get vaccinated. Vaccination is our second line of defense, and yep, we fisted this one up too.
So they said quarantine was obviously too hard, so they left it to the States. And yeah, this hotel currency, they got a first grader to do.
That's why other countries are over half vaccinated, while we're dead last in the OECD. Lucky it's not a race, unlike Matthias getting the top job at the OECD so he could further delay climate action, which is definitely a race. So we picked up phones and scrambled jets to make sure he won it. But if you need us to pick up a phone to call Pfizer and ask for enough doses for all of you, you can eat a bag of dicks. Oh,
What?
and people, what's this ad we made to scare you into getting a vaccine we failed to get you enough doses of?
That ad was horrifying, and this is the whole point. Is they're saying they want a 70% rate of vaccinations, but there's not enough vaccinations, and by the time people get their second vaccination, I mean, when you see that the UK and the US are talking about getting the third one, you know what she said. We are barely lucky. We will barely be lucky through our second one. And that was a horrible ad trying to tell people to, technically anybody under 40 is not eligible for vaccinations at the moment under the government rollout, because we're only up to 1B, but a lot of the states have said a lot of the states have changed the rules. I know, Lee, it's pretty it's sarcasm. It is very much sarcasm, which is what we Australians are very good at, sarcasm and laughing about it because we have to. So it's called the vaccine troll out. Don't let Katie Joy know, because this will be the reason.
To scare you into getting a vaccine we failed to get you enough doses of. The vaccine troll out. And now you know why we're in this shit show. So next time you feel the need to blame someone else for it, remember that plays right into our sweaty little handshake grabbers. We love it when you peasants blame each other. It means we don't have to fix the actual causes of outbreaks and lockdowns, like our quarantine system, which is a reminder that in this pandemic, your fight is less against the sneaky virus than it is against our scapegoating, slackness, and shit-faced smirks. Australian government. Authorised by the Department for Shirking and Smirking.
Can you see what the...
And joking on desks.
They didn't just say that. They didn't just go there. They did go there. Now you might say, why would they say that? Well, it was discovered that was happening in Parliament House, in federal Parliament. Yes, that's what was happening in our government. Apparently, that's what you do in the prayer room. That's what apparently it did actually happen. It was actually happening on people's desks. So that's why they've done that. So just so that you can see some of the other videos, here's their other ones. So we've got what's going on. On this government ads 5-year special. They've been going on for a while. So they've done Visit Australia, they've done election ones, Julian Assange, preferential voting. It was a female minister. Yeah, it was a female minister's desk, wasn't it? All right, let's look at this one. I don't know. I haven't seen. Oh, this one goes for 39 minutes. Wow. We need to talk about how COVID is airborne. Oh, that's a podcast. So they've got a podcast. So they did a podcast for, yeah. So anyway, this is them. So they did. So it's called and then they've got podcasts here. Oh, they've also got PG versions. I should have looked for the PG version. I didn't know they had a PG version. That's what I needed. The PG version. I just went, oh, yeah, that's it. I just went, oh, yeah, that's the ad. Right. Now we have to, but they had a PG version. Honest government ads for teachers, so you can use our videos in your classroom without scandalizing parents and getting fired. It's called Juice Media, the Juice Media. Well, that is true. I probably wouldn't have laughed so much, and I did subscribe to it. Here is the link. But that's the link. They've got 713,000 subscribers. So yeah, it's called The Juice Media. Making government ads honest. Oh dear. So anyway, that's yeah, that. Oh dear. So someone's just my parents are due for their second AstraZeneca. So someone's just posted this and said this is aged well. So this is this is 8 cases in New South Wales. So this is the 23rd of December 2020. If only Victoria had Gladys. Good on her for ignoring calls for mandatory masks and strict stay-at-home restrictions. On the 13th of the 2nd, 21. Right now, Sydney is bustling. Fireworks going off in the city. Feel for Victorians who are locked up yet again under another lockdown 3.0. Gladys has proven you can manage outbreaks proportionately. The 24th of the 12th, 2020. Gladys blitzing the second wave. She's making Victoria's handling of the virus look more and more farcical as the days went on. Hasn't aged well, has it? When will you tweet something about how wrong you were? Gladys going well. So New South Wales has had 319 cases today. So anyway, I've nearly been going for 2.5 hours because it's still early because I forgot. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I'd have gotten it if my doctor said it. As I said, the best conversation to have about vaccines is with your doctor, your GP. And that's really what you need to, that's who you need to be taking your advice from. Well, it's funny, you know, somebody, I know, and the shock of the swearing. It's wondering, hello, Karen, it's wondering I haven't been blocked from Barilaro's Twitter account yet because I may or may not have. Oh dear, I'm going to get myself into trouble. Look, laughing is better. Yeah, that's right, and the sarcasm, because we have to laugh, because otherwise it would be devastating. So John Barilaro posted, stay-at-home orders will be introduced for Armidale Regional LGA, including regional city of Armidale and the town of Guyra from 5 p.m. today until 12:01 a.m. Sunday, 15th of August. These restrictions will apply to anyone who's been in these areas. This person causing trouble, this person called Joanne Cochran says, you know, if only you had done what Victoria, South Australia, West Australia, and South Australia had done and locked down hard and fast. Then the next person says, with over 300 cases today, why aren't you locking the whole state down of New South Wales and tightening restrictions? Follow Victoria. They are gold standard and know what they are doing. So the people of Burke and Moree should be, and people in country Victoria are complaining the same thing. But what we saw with the case that started in one LGA, which was my LGA, it's already spread through another 3 LGAs. How, if they don't lock it down, they need to stop. Where you drop, so people should be locked down as hard as people in Bankstown, where you dropped on your head at any point. So what happens when cases spread to Burke and everyone is free to move around? This is so predictable. Will become almost daily until the whole state is eventually closed down months after it started. If New South Wales had locked down hard and fast from the start, the whole of Australia would be COVID-free. But no, Gladys had a gold standard. Bros, how's your daughter going? Staying at home? I bet not. So remember, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales' daughter had been caught breaching restrictions. How about sending her a reminder, as she may suffer from short-term memory loss like Daddy Bros? Sorry, I can't recall. Says, hey, I got a deal for you. And then someone's talking about his alleged corruption. Sounds like Barnaby Joyce will be in lockdown when he should be locked up. Hey, Buzz, do these apply to you and your family, or are you going to move around as you please, asking for a friend? Pity you didn't lock down last week. Make sure you get the fixated persons unit onto it. Well, again, all we've got to do, all every state has to do, is do the reverse of New South Wales. I hope Barnaby Joyce is caught in that net. That is nasty. Let me summarize your statement. Pork Barilaro Bros, incompetent, negligent. How can I be corrupt during lockdown? Well, remember, he did say that he could be corrupt because, and then this is the quote that keeps coming back to bite her. I fear for Victoria and I worry about what their government may do. I hope we have demonstrated to other states it is possible to manage an outbreak and not shut down a city. So I think it's time for Gladys and Bruz to stop playing politics and actually put their people first, because what they keep doing is they keep trying to say how much better they are than Victoria. That's essentially what they say. Oh, but we're not like Victoria. No, you're not. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's cruel. Oh, really? No way. He should have to isolate. Christine, he should have to isolate. Boris should be nice as he's been in contact with someone who tested positive, but he's not because he'll be vaccinated. He would have to isolate, though. He should be isolating because you can still pass it on and you can still get it and pass it on. You just don't, you just can't, you just won't end up on a ventilator. So someone's changed Josh Frydenberg's. My message to the Premier of New South Wales today and every day is please understand the significant impact of the harsh lockdown is doing on the mental health of New South Wales. This will be bad. It's the marches and large family gatherings in Victoria. Yes, and unfortunately, in my local LGA, there are lots of families that get together. I'm really trying to say it nicely without being obvious. We have a lot of, so for example, in Altona North, there's a lot of Greek Orthodox families. So you've got the Greek Orthodox community in Altona North. they love to meet together as a family, and we have high Muslim as well. Again, wanting to celebrate with families, they like those stuff. It's not just those two communities, but if you look at where the outbreaks are and have occurred, it's the ethnic communities where they believe in large family gatherings. And I'm just trying to say it very diplomatically. I'm trying to. So, oh wow. See, it's funny. Another friend, I think people think that because they've got the vaccination, they don't have to worry. Wow. 2020, March 2020. Wow. I think people become complacent when they're vaccinated. And while it is good, it doesn't solve everything. You know, you get the flu vaccine, it doesn't stop you from getting the flu. It stops you from getting it severely. And so you have to remember. I mean, even when you think about measles, I was vaccinated against the mumps. I still had the mumps as a child. But then I didn't have the mumps badly. It doesn't eliminate it. It just stops it from being severe. I mean, if you just have to stay at home for 14 days, that's a lot better than being on a ventilator. But I think people have to stop being complacent. He does, actually, he does. Boris Johnson and Barnaby Joyce. Oh, match made in heaven. Yeah, that's right. And it's about the herd human immunity. The more people that are vaccinated, the better we're going to be. Well, see, we have to wear masks. We have to wear masks. Even those of us that are vaccinated have to wear masks. In fact, our Premier has told us to assume that we've all got COVID, to sort of to make us think about what we need to do. We've got to assume that we've all, so that we only are leaving the house when we have to. You know, that we're doing all the right things. But yeah, we have to, whether you're vaccinated or not, you have to wear a mask. It's oh wow. Well, I have to say I'm very grateful that at my grandma's nursing home, they were very early to vaccinate. The nursing home got onto it straight away, and they've only actually had one case, and they had one positive case, which was picked up straight away. The residents were all unfortunately locked down. They were tested all the time, and it did not spread. They've had one case. You know, you can't ask for any more. You know, quick thinking, quick action. Wow, medically retired. Oh. Well, that's right. It's about limiting your chances of being on a ventilator, and that's going to free up, you know, of course, room in hospitals. But does it what? Stop you from going on the ventilator? That's the whole point of COVID. That's what the vaccinations do. They just limit the severity of it so you don't end up on a ventilator. But I've heard people say, "Oh, you know, I'm vaccinated. I'm not going to get it," and I go, "Yeah, you can still get it. You can still pass it on to somebody not vaccinated. You know, it's not a get out of free jail card." But that's right. Yeah, masks is necessary. So is good hand hygiene. Well, that's true. That's a good point, Christine. A very good point. You get to listen to us. All right, so I've done over 2.5 hours, so I'm going to probably sign off. So thank you for joining me. I have no problem talking about COVID as long as we're talking about facts and experiences. Can you ask what everyone's opinions of mandatory vax for health workers and other frontline workers? Okay, so before I go, what do you all think about mandatory vaccinations for health workers and frontline workers? See, my issue was about them so New South Wales taking vaccines from the regional areas to vaccinate the Year 12 students, is that they weren't vaccinating the students, the teachers. What's the point of vaccinating students if you're not vaccinating the teachers? Because if the teachers get sick, the kids can't sit their exams. I just find it was just pointless, in my opinion. I think some of the states missed the obvious. I think some of the states have made it. I know that, for example, all the Victorian managed aged care facilities are mandatory. The federal ones, of course, aren't. That's all the issues are. And don't forget, the Prime Minister said that he wasn't making vaccines. He wasn't making them compulsory. As I also pointed out, that they also will tell you in Australia that you don't have to vaccinate your children, but schools don't have to take your child if they're not fully vaccinated. Plus, they give you money if you've done the full vaccination of a child. So technically, they do make it mandatory. When the UK start having a shortage of young people don't want it, then how many boosters will people? Well, I believe it's going to be a booster careers, sort of a shortage of careers. I believe it'll be a booster like the flu vaccination. I can see it. I can see in the future that you'll get your flu vax and your COVID vax in one jab, probably. That's what I can see. That's what I'm thinking, but hey, don't listen to me. Some people don't want to get the vaccine, but they'll go have Botox. Yes, I know. See, the thing is, Kim, you're getting your boosters in autumn. We're not even fully. We haven't even got half of the country vaccinated yet. Oh, you're not having any more? So I actually supposed to have my flu vax, but I think, but at the moment with being locked down, I probably won't need it. New South Wales gives us the virus, but won't give us the vaccine. Yeah, I think it will be a booster. Oh, if you ask my grandmother, she will tell you she hasn't been vaccinated, but she has. She just doesn't. She doesn't remember with her dementia. She's got no idea. Okay, they're on to teens. So my older grandson says, and my daughter agrees her kids would get. Okay, cool. Well, we're not even up to teens, down to teens yet. Sorry, I should rephrase that. There are certain areas that are prioritized, and there are 12 and above that are eligible to be vaccinated if they've got high risk. But, well, as I said, I just think given in Australia, money works. Money is what will work in Australia. We like our money. $300 per jab, I reckon. Perfect. Yeah. The students in New South Wales had to get their vaccination if they wanted to do the HSC. But see, Mr. Obvious, they haven't vaccinated the teachers. And that's what I'm not why prioritize students and not teachers? Just shows you that they're not thinking at all. And why vaccinate the city and not the country? No, I didn't hear about what Hawkesbury are doing. I know SPC factory in Shepparton are mandating vaccinations for all their staff. I know some employers are actually offering a day's pay or half a day's pay. So if you go get vaccinated, you can have the day off. Some are actually giving people the next day off, to try and get them vaccinated. But they can try. The thing is, the problem is the supply, and I heard it again today. It's a supply issue. It's not a demand issue. Sorry. Yeah. They've got people to vaccinate. They just cannot. The supply is not available. There's just no. So there's more people wanting to get vaccinated than there are vaccines, and that is the whole problem. And I thought I read to say that the prediction is it's going to take about another 6 months before we even get to the limit at the rate that we're vaccinating. So I just say put us in a bubble until that point. Yeah, and the other thing is, again, I think, Jenna, it has to be a discussion between you and your doctor. There are people that can't have it for medical reasons, and that's fine. I don't object to that. That's why everybody that can get it should get it. I don't understand why the supply is low, because the government didn't order. They wanted everybody to have AstraZeneca, but there's been issues with AstraZeneca, with people dying from AstraZeneca and blood clots. And then there was a recommendation from the professional body that it not be given to anybody under 60 years of age. So because they had put all their eggs in the AstraZeneca basket, they were left. Yeah, the government was offered a whole pile of Pfizer last year, and they turned them down because they put all their eggs in the AstraZeneca basket. Now, the rumor has it that some of their party mates in the same party had shares in AstraZeneca. I don't know what the truth is, but that's the rumor. That is the rumor. Yeah, government members have connections to AstraZeneca. Oh, it's no rumor? I haven't seen the evidence in that, so that's why I've said it's a rumor. You wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's what I read. But as I said, I haven't seen anything to say to prove that. But that's why. So there is a shortage. So there's a shortage of, and we've only got Pfizer or AstraZeneca. So that's it. Moderna's not coming on board until early next year. So again, they've stuffed up that as well. They've stuffed everything up. And then they've said the goal is to have zero. Cool. Yay. It will be fun. And then they're saying, then they've said that they want to get community transmissions down to zero. So you can open up when community transmissions are down to zero. So I'm certainly in for a while, I think. I predict that I'll be in lockdown at least until the end of the month at this stage. New South Wales has essentially said if it's still locked down at the end of the month, they give up. So they just can't be bothered with it anymore. That's what they've said. Well, see, that's the thing. It's going to help the economy tick over. It's going to keep people in jobs. It's going to do everything that they want in. Oh, is Moderna September? Oh, I thought it was next year. If Moderna September, well, that should help them, but that's still, I know that's still next month. We still could be locked down till next month. So, National Cabinet met and said that suppression was still the order of the day. So, suppression is still what they're going for, zero community transmissions. So, as I said, we had 29 today. We'll probably have 30 tomorrow. Oh, no, that's right. Oh, New South Wales have had stay-at-home orders. They've not actually been at lockdown. They've just had stay-at-home orders. I mean, that video, as sarcastic as it was so truthful. I'm wondering, here's like, I'm not a scientist, but it's interesting that all of our cases have occurred during the winter months. During summer, we had pretty much quite a bit of freedom. So Christmas, because we have Christmas in summer. Christmas, we had restrictions. January was fairly good. School started in February, and as the weather started to get colder, the cases, we had trouble. And I'm wondering whether it's not weather related. So, and the joke is at the moment that they want to put, these states want to build a wall between them and New South Wales. So Queensland and ACT want to put a big wall. We want Trump's wall just to protect us. Queensland, yeah. The Delta variant is a beast. So, all right, well, I'm going to head off. So for those of you, there is a link on my community tab for the church link tomorrow. So you're welcome to join me at 10:30 tomorrow for the premiere for church. You'll all get notified, but if you're not interested, that's fine. Thank you for letting me share the link with everybody, despite the fact that you're all not church people. But you know, might want to check it out. Hey, I think for me it's a bit of common sense, the fox. I was just thinking about it. Oh, it's so odd. Oh, look, I find it really weird, Jenna Sweet Tea, that you don't wear boardies and tank tops and everything. Yeah. Oh, you want the dome like in the Simpsons movie. You know how on the Simpsons movie they had the dome? We need the dome. Put it over New South Wales. They can keep their germs to themselves. It might be middle of night church. Anyway, so if you want to watch it, keep the link. I will actually unlist it afterwards because but it will still be there, so you can watch it at any time. It's just going to be unlisted. Well, yeah, that's what they've sort of said. They said at the end of the month they sort of were going to give up and just live with it. Known to live with it. I mean, can you imagine the death and everything that's going to happen if they do that? All right. So anyway, I'll catch you tomorrow night. As I said, I might see some of you for church. If not, have a good one. And I'll catch you again soon.